Problem 112 has us taking a look at an individual that's doing some flying, and there's several pieces of information. First of all, he flies from Seattle, Kansas City every month, and that gives him 1,500 frequent flyer miles. So that happens every month. Every 3 months then, in these months listed, he goes also then to Los Angeles, and that adds an additional 950 miles to his account on those months. Also, he's starting with a value of 1,000 or 12,000 miles, and 2 times throughout the year he makes a withdrawal of 25,000 miles, and those are the months of June and December. So the very first problem wants to take a look at this with a graph and a table. So I'm going to make a table first so we know what to graph. Here's my table. So in January, he did start with 12,000, but by the end of January, he will have 15,000. And the reason why that went up to 15,000 is because in the problem, it does state that it is 1,500 miles each way, for a total of 3,000 miles when he goes to Kansas City. There is another 3,000 miles in February, but now in March is the first month that he also goes to Los Angeles. So he has the 3,000 for the round trip to Kansas City, and then he has 950 each way, so that is times 2 for when he goes to Los Angeles. So at March, he's now up to 22,900. Again, goes to Kansas City here, and now there's a big change. Not only does he go to Kansas City, and he also goes to Los Angeles, but he also takes his trip. So he's doing a lot of flying there. So he has his plus 3,000 for the Kansas City. He adds his 1,900 for Los Angeles, but then he subtracts away 25,000 for when he goes to Florida. That puts him then at 8,800. As it continues, Kansas City, both. Kansas City, and then the very last one is this again, where he goes to Kansas City, Los Angeles, and Florida. So he ends the year in December at 5,600 miles. Once we have all that, now we can go through and start answering some questions. We can also take a look at the graph and graph all these. The graph here is going to be a step graph. For each month, he starts off with 12,000, but by the end of that month, he's going to have the next amount. And that amount does not jump up until the following month starts. So he has 12,000, then goes up to 15,000. February goes up to 18,000, and we have that shown here. So on the end of the month, he gets the next one, and that goes up, and that's shown here in our display. Here is the bigger jump for when he goes in March to Los Angeles. After this step right here, so when we have the big loss right here, that makes this point then go down there. Same thing in December, goes down to there. Now we can start analyzing the questions and answering the questions. So problem B, we're taking a look at the highest number of miles and what month. We can look on our graph It'd be right there. Looking at our table, it is right here. So in May, they had 28,900 miles. How many did they have in account at the beginning of the year? Or beginning of this year, rather. 5,600. Because remember, this is going back and looking at from the entire last year. And problem D. If he continues this, will he have enough miles to do his normal vacations? So, started off at 12,000. Ended up here at 5,600. That means over the course of the year, there was a net loss of 6,400 miles. Since he's starting the year at 5,600, he cannot lose 6,400, so he will not be able to do his usual trips. So problem D is no.